Have you pondered things like an infinite cosmos in your thoughts, or any other
Oh
H.P.
God.
Lovecraft-esque ideas?
Yeah, I've thought about that, but not so much lately. My new pet thing is the whole like if we were living in a simulation, like how would you be able to know? And it just makes perfect sense to me that if computers keep getting better and better and better, eventually you would be able to make a real one-to-one simulation of the world, and that has a lot of practical applications. And it just seems like, why wouldn't we do that? And what are the chances of us being in the real reality? And if you accept that it's possible, like, which is not a given, like it's definitely not a given that it's possible, but if you accept that it's possible, then it is pretty much statistically impossible that you are in the real world, and instead you are in one of the billions, maybe even trillions of simulations that our species is running in order to do things. So an example of this, of applications of this, would be to look for markers throughout history. So it would be, okay, they might even set one up themselves. So it's like, okay, when did the Titanic sink as a big moment in history? When did humans first colonize Mars? Did 9/11 happen because of September? Like those sort of things. So let's say they look for like 50 markers of something like that, and then they would run simulations where they simulate the creation of the universe, and they would go through the creation of Earth and everything that happened on Earth, and they would run it to a certain date, say the year 5000, or let's make it recent, to 2020. They'd run it to 2020, and at the end of that simulation, they would look for those markers. Did this happen, or did more of them happen? And it's like, okay, well, not all of them happened, but 5 of them did, and they would take the best ones, and then they would run that through kind of like machine learning, and they would just make tweaks on that same one until finally they get all of the markers, and then they would look for even different markers. And the idea there is that you run the simulation so many times that eventually you have a simulated perfect replica of our history that has no bias, no issues whatsoever with when it comes to false reports, and you can actually see what really happened in every single star of the world, because everything that's happened in the world affects anything else, with the cliche butterfly effect thing. Like even the smallest little difference is going to be picked up with the chain of events that happens in the future. So that's the infinite cosmos kind of scale idea that I've been kicking around in my head lately. And it's like, okay, well, what the fuck would like, is that something that can really happen? Because if it is something that can really happen, and they can simulate consciousness in the exact same way, then it seems unlikely that we're in the real world and we're instead in the boom, butterfly effect, and instead we're in one of the simulations. But again, you have to accept that it is possible, and again, that you would actually have a consciousness that is capable of making decisions. And it might not be, it also completely nullifies free will, and instead it's everyone is an algorithm, which I speak a little about in the Witcher video, actually. So yeah, I know that's an out there idea, and I'm not saying I 100% believe in it, because I don't, but it's fun to think about, and also like really fucking scary, like really really fucking scary. It's also linked to the Black Mirror idea, that there are really really powerful applications for a simulation to torture someone who did a really really bad crime, and they do it in Black Mirror, but like I feel like they could have gone a lot further with it than they actually did. Like if you can run someone's consciousness through a simulation, you could lull them into a sense of false security, and then just hit them with just nonstop, relentless tragedy, and over a period of eons, just to fucking punish them for some heinous crime that they don't even know that they did, because they've been like, their consciousness has been wiped before they went in there. And that's unethical as fuck, but like, we would do that. We would totally do that, for sure. We would do that. Like, I might even support that if someone did something bad enough to me. Like if someone cut in front of me, in front of the line in a Tim Hortons airport, just saying that, like, maybe it happened, maybe it
Just
didn't,
for a coffee?
maybe it didn't, like, yeah,
Not even for a meal?
just for a coffee. Maybe some old mean lady cut in front of us in line.
Lulled me into a
Yeah,
false
like,
sense of
whoa,
security,
whoa, whoa,
almost.
like, it's hypothetical. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, who knows? But yeah, that's the one I think about. I used to think about this a lot when I was a kid, because I couldn't sleep. So I would have a lot of thoughts about how like different dimensions and stuff from some book I read when I was a kid. Did like talked about the 2D plane world and the 3D world. It's the idea of a flat world that If you take a 2D person, stick person, and he lives in his 2D life, and if you cut him out of the 2D paper and moved him like an inch to the up or down, then he wouldn't see his world anymore, and no one in his world would see him either. And it's like that different kind of dimensions, and that got me thinking about different dimensions that Flatland. There we go. Different type of dimensions that could exist with different versions of our planet. But then I came to the conclusion that it's impossible, because if there is infinite dimensions where anything that could happen does happen, then there would be a dimension where they make a machine that can take them to other dimensions. And if that's possible, like they can break through the dimensions. If that's possible, they would have broken through to every dimension by now, because time is infinite, and they would have had infinite amount of time to do it, and there would be almost an infinite amount of dimensions that do make the machine. So that therefore it's impossible for other dimensions to exist, because that hasn't happened. Or it's impossible for dimensions to breach, and if that's the case, then who gives the fuck about it, because we're never ever going to be able to interact with them. But then it got like, and that was me settled for years, and I was really happy being a pompous little shit that I had solved other dimensions, you know, like at 9 years old, I'm like, yeah, I've done this, there's no fucking way. And then I was like, yeah, but what if there's like infinite sets of dimensions where some are untouched because they weren't part of the group that was colonized by other dimensions? Or maybe it just hasn't happened yet, because if there's infinite dimensions, then there's going to be infinite ones that aren't affected by the other infinite ones, and now there's going to be pockets of infinite dimensions and infinite realities. And then it's like, oh well, wouldn't one dimension make a machine that destroys all the other dimensions? And that would have happened. It just kept looping around like that until I would finally fucking fall asleep. So yeah, that was me as a kid. But that's the only kind of like infinite cosmos thing that I've thought about, apart from like the usual just like, are there aliens thing, which is almost a certainty, you know. I'd be surprised if there wasn't, to put it mildly. I hope we never see them though. It scares the shit out of me. It scares the shit out of me, just aliens just showing up one day and just killing us all like cattle, just like they don't even give a fuck, like just done. Yeah, never let Joe get into drugs.
No, I ate dirt as a kid. What the fuck, Joe?
Oh man, it's so hot in here.
Yeah, it really is. And I usually am cold and don't mind it when it's hot, but it's really hot in here. Start thinking about the Nelly song.
Yeah, you know what Nelly says about that, right?
I know.
Okay, I've never taken drugs. Never, 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 ever, ever. But what people have described taking drugs to be sounds very close to a lot of dream sequences that I've had, and also how I feel sometimes when I can't sleep for a long time, and these kind of weird trances that I go into when I can't sleep, but I'm also not really conscious either, and also like how I feel sometimes when I first wake up. You know, like I've had hallucinations and the like from a lack of sleep, so maybe I've had some kind of something close to a drug experience. I don't know, but I've never taken drugs. I've never even smoked pot. Never even taken marijuana. And it's legal here, so I have no reason to lie about that. I've never smoked a cigarette. I went through a period where I would drink vodka when I was a teenager, but like that's it. And I stopped, and I don't drink anymore, apart from very rare like occasions, like at New Year's and stuff. I don't drink. My dad was an alcoholic. Probably still is too, but I don't talk to him, so like I don't do that.
We can have a drink on New Year's this year.
We can have a drink on New Year's this year, but that's about it. Like I would like to find a beer that I could drink, just so I can like not be that prick in social situations. I don't drink, like just something, you know, like not to get drunk ever, just to have something like that. But yeah, I don't drink. Your mind is going ham is why I asked. I don't know, like that's kind of how I am sometimes.
When you get on a tangent, kind of, when you get wound up, then yeah.
Maybe there's something wrong with me.
You just kind of get, I don't know if excited is the word, like.
Just get
water.
Again,
it's that saying we always say, wind Joe up and watch him go. You know, like that's.
Did they say that?
No, that's what you and I have said before.
Okay.
Like I don't know if they said.
No,
it.
I thought they've said that.
I don't know if they've said it. I know we've said it, but.
Ben's kind of the same way, isn't he? When he goes on his really long story, he kind of sounds like everyone knows this. That internet meme where he's like, "Did you ever have a dream that you could when he gets like that where he goes on this big long thing explanation about like something in Yoshi's Crafted World. Daddy and Yoshi game with the and he go jump and then with the bouncy bird and with the tin can and with Bowser and then I can't beat Kamek. Like, and the last bit is crystal clear, and everything in between that is just like a ramble that's adorable. So